Welcome, everybody, to Senate Education. We're back here with a sparse crew because, as you know, when we start crossing over with bills, sometimes we end up having to go across the hall to present bills. I have to do that same thing today at noon, but at least I'm at noon. So I think Senator Olson will be here shortly or later, and the good Senator Rothfuss will probably be the same way. And Abby might be dropping off kids, so we're a hodgepodge of a committee. But we're happy to go through these bills. We have 3 of them today. They're pretty simple bills, but real important bills. So with that, let's take roll call.
This is roll call for Senate Education, February 25th. Senator Brennan,
Excused?
Senator Olson,
Excused?
Senator Rothfuss.
Here.
Senator Scott.
Here.
Chairwoman Schuler.
Here,
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
barely, but we got one. All right. Anyway, our first bill is House Bill 23, participation in 6 through 12 activities. I'll just give you a high-level overview of it, I guess. Very simple bill. It just basically talks a little bit about allowing kids in grades 6 through 12 that are not enrolled in a district to participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. There was obviously some issues in our state surrounding this when the ESA bill was approved last spring. And so I think there were some districts that weren't sure, probably needed some clarification. So on page 2, just to clarify, any school-age child who's a resident of the school district who is not under suspension or expulsion by a Wyoming school district and who is not enrolled as a full-time student in the district in which he resides shall be permitted by the district to participate in any activities in grades 6 through 12 offered by the district, including but not limited to activities which are sanctioned by the Wyoming High School Activities Association. Very, very, black and white, I think, bill, but I think it was needed. It kind of specifies a little bit more for our districts. And I think there was some not only just with the ESA bill, but just with the issue of whether part-time or full-time or how many hours they had to take in order to be able to participate in activities. So with that, any discussion, committee, on this bill or anything you want to add? Senator Scott, look like you got a question
Madam Chairman,
or a comment?
and I will pose a question that I hope the witnesses will answer. Why should it be restricted to 6 to 12? I can see that activities, including but not limited to those as sanctioned by the High School Activities Association, broadens it as useful, but I don't see why not K through 12?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer. Do you, Senator Rothfuss?
Madam Chairman, I think it's typically just because we end up having in 6 through 12 the outside of school organized activities, and they're less in existence from K through 5. So we were doing this for simplicity, but maybe others have ideas.
And I would agree with that. I think on page 2 where it talks about which are sanctioned by the Wyoming High School Activities Association. So I think that's where that clarification comes in. So, all right, if there's no other discussions or questions from the committee, let's open it up. How about our State Department of Education? I believe they have a crew here today ready to rock and roll. So please introduce yourself.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Nish Goikolea, Wyoming Department of Education. The superintendent supports this bill. This bill kind of just codifies what was the norm in practice before the education savings account. And so I think that clarification just allows that to continue. In terms of the question that Senator Scott posed about the activities, we're not completely sure. We do know that the bulk of, the issues seem to come with the 6-12 activities where there is more sports and dances and other things. But that's kind of our understanding. I'll stand for any questions.
Yes, go ahead, Senator. Go ahead. Question?
Madam Chairman, I can remember when my kids were in school and they were in a one-room country school in the grades, particularly 4, 5, and 6, they were participating with a town school in intramural sports among several schools. So, and it was good for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what leads to my question.
Nish, do you have anything to say? I would love to pronounce your last name, but I know I'll slaughter it every time, so I'm just going to call you Nish.
Madam Chairwoman, Senator Scott, we don't have an answer for that. I think that it just was the bulk of the issues was at that 612 level when there are more, but I have nothing else to add on that.
And I would agree with that. The only activities that I'm aware of, that the high school activity sanctions are nothing below sixth grade. And they have actually very few activities offered for sixth grade. I know they can swim, they can run track. There's a lot of things they can't do. So I think that answers that. I'd love to have you introduce this new intern that we have here, though, since you have a connection. for the
Oh,
group.
yes,
So-
Madam Chairwoman, thank you, members of the committee. My son, Giancarlo, is interning through his high school this week and next week. He's one of 8 students for the state. He applied and was selected, so I'm very proud.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited. We're excited to have him. And like I said, we won't try not to work him too hard. I did have a little project already up here for him and Corey, but they're going to work on it later maybe. But yeah, so we'll keep him busy, but we'll take good care of him. So
Thank you.
any
Madam
other
Chair.
questions for the State Department?
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to offer testimony on this bill, please come forward. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chairman, Senator Scott. My name is James Halverson. I'm the Deputy State Director for Americans for Prosperity. And just quickly to address the question that you guys have already raised, right now we would be opposed to this bill because we do think that it would help eliminate some opportunities for some of those younger students. And a lot of the conversation and the controversy has been, as you correctly stated, around the Activities Association sanctioned events. But there are a lot of activities for those younger students. And while I don't think that's the intent of the bill is to limit that participation, we believe that could happen. And the school districts may use this to, help their cause of trying to get some of those kids out of there because it costs them money, quite frankly. So we really think that an amendment would be wonderful, which would need to be in the bill and in the title, because since the title is 6 through 12 activities. We would love to see that struck and just put a K through 12 in there, and then we would be in full support. So
Could you tell me your name again?
James Halverson.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Tofferson? Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. Anyone else who would like to testify on this bill? Welcome. It's a friendly face. We've seen a lot, but we still need to have you introduce yourself for the record.
Madam Chairman, Brian Farmer, Wyoming School Boards Association, speaking neither in favor nor against the bill, but just to add additional information for the committee's consideration. As you know, in recalibration, this last go around, the activities funding was reduced. Dollars are down for activities, and those dollars are for the ADM. So the kids in the schools generate those activities dollars. So this is really just sort of that freebie to the community. And unlike the kid who takes the part-time class that does generate an ADM dollar, the kid participating in the activity does not generate extra dollars. Districts are happy to have those kids come and join us, but just want you to be aware that that's kind of the environment that that's in.
Questions for Mr. Farmer? Are there schools, I just have one, that are charging kids for participation that you were aware of? I know some do, seems like some don't, but I'm not sure.
Yes, Madam Chairman. Where a district charges for participation in a sport or activity, all students must be charged the same. So yes, sometimes for equipment, uniforms, things like that, there will be some additional charge for the participation. Generally, that helps to defray some of the cost. It generally does not cover the cost of the activity or the participation, but there are occasions where that happens.
Other questions for Mr. Farmer? Yes, Senator Scott.
Chairman, on that point, from what I've seen of other states, our charges are quite modest and not the high barrier that I've seen some other states. Is that a correct impression?
Mr. Chairman, I would absolutely agree with that. If you take, for example, the state of Nevada, in Nevada, they tend to sponsor one activity per semester for school. Here, you get all kinds of activities, and then those other activities in those other states essentially become sort of a club sport. They become where it is the pay to play. And so Wyoming does provide for our kids to have lots of activities. Sometimes maybe we worry that there's too many. We've had some recent conversations of we keep adding, but we just want to do what's best for the kids. And so our charges where they do exist do tend to be much lower than other states.
Further questions? I would agree with you, Mr. Farmer. I have relatives that live in a state west of us, and the amount of money that they pay for their kids to be a part of activities is kind of outrageous, actually. So I think our kids in Wyoming are very, very lucky, very blessed. There's no other questions. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the room that would like to testify? There's another friendly face we might know. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Madam Chair, Boyd Brown, Wyoming Association of School Administrators. I did see that on the in the House side, they had an interesting amendment that you guys might be interested in looking at that would allow school districts to count those students and then get some money back for them, or if districts could just count those students and turn them in for the activities ADM. So that's a possible solution that would make everybody happy. And again, we're happy to have those kids. You know, I can remember some of my homeschool kids being some of the best kids that were out on my soccer team, on other teams whenever I was a high school principal. So we welcome those kids. I'd answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Farmer? Excuse me, not Mr. Farmer, Mr. Brown.
We're interchangeable.
Mr. Farmer's gone. Go ahead.
I have to apologize. I can't keep all the numbers in my head all straight. What is the ADM for school activities?
Mr. Brown?
Madam Chair, Senator Brennan, it's different for elementary, junior high, and high school. And I would hate to give you a number off the top of my head because I don't know whether it would be the one that they changed it to this year, but I'd be happy to send that information to you guys.
That is completely fair. I think we can look through our 105-page bill, to find it.
I think I can find it fairly easy, and I'll just email it to the committee.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Yeah. any
I stand
follow-ups?
corrected, 95 pages.
Okay. Just to follow up on that same question, so the amendment that was brought, were they taking a look at whether they were part-time, whether they attended like 1 hour? Can you remember what the amendment?
I don't remember it verbatim, but it didn't have anything to do with them being in an FTE in school. All it had to do with was if they were attending an activity, it was they had set aside a specific amount of money, and then we're going to pay X amount for each student. So it would be a little different than if you counted them as an ADM for just activities and getting just the activities money.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that information. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Dr. Brown. Anyone else in the room that would like to testify on House Bill 23? Okay, we'll close public testimony. Discussion from the committee. Any amendments or anything that you'd like to add? Senator Scott?
I'll move the bill, and then I do have an amendment.
Okay, go ahead, move the bill.
I'll second it
Okay,
too.
got a second.
Bill's moved. I would like to remove the words on page 2, line 6, in grades 6 through 12. And same on page 1, line 3 in the title. And then what would be left would it be activities offered by the district, including but not limited to activities which are sanctioned. And I think the ones in the earlier grades are mostly not sanctioned. And they're mostly, at least in my district, within the district. But they are useful, and I think it's useful for the homeschool people to have that kind of a association with the other kids. And I think this bill was intended to broaden it. But the 6 through 12, Madam Chairman, I think really relates to the sanctioned activities, and there are others that are intentionally caught by this bill.
Okay.
So I think we'll be better off with the less restrictive version.
Any discussion on the amendment? Just one question. Oh, go ahead, Senator.
No, you go ahead. I think.
Okay, we probably have the same question.
Yeah.
Just the bill title. Is this going to be an issue with the bill title?
Madam Chairman, no. We are slightly broadening it, but it's very much related to the co-curricular, extracurricular. You can always do that. It's not something radically different.
Okay, Senator, go ahead. Was that the same question?
Wait, that was the same question.
Okay, well, I have a lot of faith and trust in Senator Scott. He's been around the block a few years longer than the rest of us. So if he says we're good, then I think I'm okay with that as well. So if there's no more discussion, let's go ahead and vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, that amendment's passed. Anything else on the bill? Any other additions, deletions?
Question on the bill.
Okay, question on the bill has been called. Corey, would you like to take roll?
This is a roll call vote for House Bill 23 as amended. Senator Brennan,
Aye.
Senator Olson,
Excused?
Senator Rothfuss,
He left an aye vote.
Senator Scott,
Hi.
Chairwoman Schuler.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I have 4 ayes, 1 absent.
Okay. All righty, that one went quick. House Bill 24 is the next bill up for our consideration. This is a review of the charter school applications. I can go over it really quick. These are all, I like going over these short and sweet bills. They're really quick. This was actually an ask from our charter school folks to help a little bit with their application process. If you look on the bottom of page 1, you can see that originally the application, when they submitted it, they had 30 days. And basically it just says they'll take a look at the application, and then over on page 2, it's just a simple, on line 10. It was kind of a narrowing, saying they had 60 days. And now it just says basically after receiving the application for the charter school, as long as it's complete, they're going to hold a public hearing. So it kind of helps, I think, our charter school folks be able to have a little more flexibility. And then there's one other change on page 3, and it just basically says that within, used to be 90 days on the top of page 3, and now they've expanded that to 120 days. Once the authorizer, they approve the application, they've got that many days. So it just kind of gives them a little more time. And we heard from the folks from the charter schools, and I think this will help them with the process. It's quite a process to go through the application. I was kind of surprised to hear how much they have to put together in order to make this process complete. So with that, any questions or discussion from the committee on that? Okay. We'll go ahead and open it up to public testimony. I believe the State Department, you want to come first, and then the charter schools? No? Okay. Come on up. Mr. Charter School is here. Should we call you that, John? I don't know what. And I think you might have some, yeah, come on up. The more the merrier. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John Waller, I'm the Executive Director of the Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board. Good to see you all again. I just want to thank you for your consideration of House Bill 24. As you explained, in the interim session, this bill allows the Charter School Operating Board more time and flexibility to thoroughly vet all new applications while still allowing a full year of preparation for the schools. And that was really important to us. Our application window actually opens this Sunday. So we're going to start considering new schools this Sunday, and we're looking forward to those new proposals. I think you did a really good job of explaining. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'd stand for any questions from you about this, just because there's more time and flexibility with the
Questions?
process.
Tell me a little bit more about how it's going to help you with just the whole process.
Well, we want to do a really good job of making sure that we're only approving high quality ones and ones that are set for success. And it was very prescriptive. The language is very prescriptive about you got to do this in 30 days, you got to do this in 60 days. And what this does is just gives us more flexibility during that time frame. And a good example, like we know that there's at least 2 coming forward that have done an intent to apply, but we could get a bunch more. And I think, by allowing a little more flexibility, we can build in that process. One thing that's really important to our board is we want to visit these communities and we want to talk to them and make sure we're hearing, does this fit the needs of the community? And so, we want to make sure we allow enough time for that. It's a huge process. WDE helps us vet them. We work with NACSA to help vet those applications. The board does a lot of work and a lot of questioning. And then of course, the community visits are really important. So it just gives us some more flexibility and a little bit more time to do that. It was important to us too, to make sure we're giving them plenty of time because opening a school is a really big deal. So we wanted to give them plenty of time for that as well. So.
Questions for Mr. Weller? Well, you answered one of the questions I was going to
Okay.
ask. I wanted to know if you had any idea of how many might be coming your way.
Yes.
I had heard maybe more than that. So 2 that you know of though right now.
2 that we know of. This year, Madam Chair, we did a new procedure where we did an intent to apply. It's not required, but we kind of want to see what was coming down the pike. But yeah, we could have more. We do know of at least 2 and are real excited to look through those and see what they have to offer. So.
Okay. And just to
Yeah.
follow up, in this application, do they have to have a building already kind of in line with the application, or is that something that can come later on?
Madam Chair, they have to have a plan for where they're going to house it. And you don't have to say it's going to be this building, but we need a good indication that you have that ready to go. If with that 1-year timeline, things move along really, really quickly. So that's something that we really look at. Does this look feasible? Does it look like the budget's going to work? There's just a whole lot. The application is exhaustive and which is a good thing because I think we need to look at every aspect of that. And of course, we know that the financial burden is the thing that really puts a strain on these charter schools. So you don't have to identify it. You have to have a plan for it, though.
Okay. And just another question, on page 2, it talks about the authorizer, they have to consider the level of community and parental support for the application. In the past, has that been pretty overwhelming? Or is it, have you had some applications where no one's shown up to, say yay or nay? How's it looked in the past?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. That actually predates me. I haven't been in with these, so I'm excited to start this one. I can tell you the feedback from the session, particularly like in Alpine, was very well attended. I just actually went to a meeting there. They just approved an amendment down there, and it was very helpful and well attended. We had a lot of folks getting up and speaking, and so to me, that's such a critical piece of it. Is does this fit the needs of the community? Is this something you guys want and have really thought about? And so I'm looking forward to it, but I can't speak to it directly. I do know that the one that this board has done was very well attended and lots of comments. So
I was just going to go ahead and ask Ms. Klein because I'm sure she was here. What are your thoughts on that?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Carrie Klein with the Wyoming Public Charter School Association. And I would say that in every instance over the last 10, 15 years, when there's been an application, that there's been a lot of public involvement and comments at the hearings.
Okay. Good. Other comments or questions for our charter people? Okay, well, we hope this will help.
thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Madam Chair, I'm
Yes.
just going to add quickly, we do support this, and I think it's important to note that nothing inside the process has changed. So none of the requirements, none of the things that they have to do to show that their application is viable has changed. It just simply extends the window by a few days, 60 days. It's early this morning. I haven't had a lot of coffee, so apologize. So it extends that time frame and gives the boards, both the state authorizing board and any district board that's looking at an application, the ability to manage all those things within that time frame.
Great. That was another follow-up question that I was going to ask. So you guys are way ahead. So even without coffee, you're on top of things. All right. No other questions. We'll turn you guys loose. Other public comment, please come on up. You guys had your coffee or your caffeine this morning? They're not going to say, so I
Yes,
haven't.
Madam
So
Chair.
I wished I had something that resembled a Diet Coke up here, but all I have is water. So I'm sorry if I'm a little, I stayed up late watching the State of the Union because I didn't get to hear the first round. So yeah, so I'm blurry-eyed. I apologize. Go ahead.
No problem. Boyd Brown, Wyoming Association of School Administrators, Executive Director. Again, we support this for any charter school that might be going through the district. It gives us the same flexibility as it does the state authorizing board. So having been through a couple of these, the flexibility and not being quite so rigid in the timelines really does, especially if it's a pretty complex application and everything, but it does give you the flexibility to work back and forth with the people that are applying. And with that, I'd answer questions.
Questions for Dr. Brown? Thank you.
Madam
Go
Chair,
ahead.
Brian Farmer, Wyoming School Boards Association, speaking in favor of the bill. We agree that this provides a good process for any charter applicant, and then it's good for the state authorizing board. It's good for the school district as they evaluate. So we still do have the two paths in Wyoming. We have the state authorizing board. We have school district authorizers. And we have charter schools that are both. Those charter schools that are part of districts are an important part of their district. They serve a need in that district. And this initial evaluation allows for the review of that collaboration between the charter school and the district. And so that's an important part of the relationship. This facilitates that. And so we support that.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Farmer? Okay. Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else in the room that would like to testify on this bill? Okay. Is there anybody online? I forgot to ask you. I thought you left me a note somewhere that said nobody online. Okay, perfect. All right. With that, we'll close public testimony. What's your pleasure on this bill?
Move the bill.
Okay, it's been moved. We don't necessarily have to have a second. There's only 5 of us. Well, 3 of us today. So anything that you'd like to talk about in terms of additions, amendments? Yes, Senator.
No, I don't have any additions or amendments. I think we worked this well over the interim. I just appreciate that we were able to work this over the interim and give that I think extra time. I think it really brought to light over the interim just how much there is to go through with these charter schools. And I appreciate that everybody wants to do these and do these right. So fully support.
Okay. And I was going to ask one other question but I can actually ask the charter school people later, since we closed public testimony, but I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Just one little question that I should have jotted it down, but anyway, it's all right. With that, if we don't have any other questions or discussion on the bill, I guess we'll take roll call.
This is a roll call vote for House Bill 24. Senator Brennan,
Aye.
Senator Olson,
Excused?
Senator Rothfuss,
He left an aye vote.
Senator Scott,
Aye.
Chairwoman Schuler.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that is 4 ayes, 1 excused.
Okay. Superb. We're just knocking through these today. It's lovely when there's only 2 or 3 page bills. It's kind of refreshing. All right. The last bill for our consideration today is House Bill 25. And this is Wyoming's Tomorrow Scholarship Program amendments. And it's a very short 1 page, not even a full page. And again, this is just eliminates the continuous enrollment requirement to maintain scholarship eligibility. It repeals a provision of the law. And I think there's probably somebody here from the school commission that would love to talk about this Wyoming Tomorrow Scholarship. Am I correct? Let's
Madam
open it up.
Laurel Ballard with Wyoming Community College Commission, and I'm always happy to talk
All
about
right, great.
this. So I'm pleased that it's a nice short bill. It does just repeal the pieces of the section of the Wyoming's Tomorrow Scholarship that is related to the continuous enrollment. It was asked for, right? Because these students are these are 24 to 65-year-olds, right? That are likely to come in and out. And so allowing them to start it, and then if they need to pause and go back out into the workforce and then come back and get more, I mean, it allows them to be able to do that. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions for Ms. Ballard? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. Sometimes the interim feels like a long time ago, and so I forget some stuff between then and session. So if you would just remind me, and thank you for telling us that this was the one that's 24 to 65-year-olds. I appreciate that. How much money is a person eligible for over time in that? Is there a limit?
Oh, you would
Ms.
think I'd
Ballard?
have that off the top of my head, wouldn't you? Okay. Madam Chair, I will admit, I cannot think of it. I too need more caffeine this morning. I can get that to you though shortly.
That is, Madam Chairman. if you
Yes.
don't- Yeah, that is completely fine and understandable, as I didn't remember either. I was just trying to recall that. So if we get it,
Madam Chair.
great.
Yes. Senator Scott, go ahead.
On that question, there's a total of $7,200 for scholarships and unmet need. And it's limited not more than $150 per semester hour and not more than $1,800 per academic term for unmet financial need. And some qualifications on that.
See, Senator Scott has his statute book out and, so is that,
Madam Chair, I'm rather impressed, Senator Scott. Thank you.
Madam Chairman.
yes.
While I'm at it, the provision that this repeals reads, it's a little 4 under C, maintain requirement that the scholarships maintain continuous enrollment for not less than 2 academic semesters in each successive academic year. Commission may grant waivers to the requirement of this subparagraph for military service, religious service, or other good cause shown pursuant to commission rule. So this would, I don't know how burdensome that waiver process is, but it would eliminate the need for it.
Correct, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Ms. Ballard, so what's your take on how many kids do you think? I mean, I know these are the non-traditional type students that have probably come back after maybe they went for a semester and then decided not to, or maybe they haven't attended college at all. But how many do you have any idea on numbers of kids that they start out and then, a semester later got to stop and go to work? You have any idea on those numbers at all?
I don't. I mean, this is the first year
Sure.
that we've had enough funds in the endowment to be able to start funding the scholarships. And so we're just in that, we're starting the second semester
Sure.
of that.
I guess what I'm asking more or less is maybe the dropout rate of those non-traditional students. Any idea on that in the past? I mean, I know you're new too, so I'm asking you things you probably don't know.
Madam Chair, I
Historically.
don't have that information, but I could certainly go find it for you.
Sure. No, I think the scholarship is exactly what we need for those kids, so that they do have some flexibility, very similar to the lump sum that we talked about with the other kids. So, and I thank you, Senator Scott, for letting us know. I actually try to look up the statutes before I get here, but this morning I just didn't get it done. So anyway, any other questions for Ms. Ballard? Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
You
Madam
can
Chair.
get your caffeine too later. State Department of Education, do you have anything you'd like to add to this scholarship? Okay, no? Okay. Well, anybody in the room that have, we have all kinds of people. Come on up, fill the chairs. Hopefully some of you have had your caffeine today, if you need caffeine for starters, because some of us have not, myself included. If you want to start with Micah, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I am Micah Richardson with the Wyoming Women's Foundation at the Wyoming Community Foundation, and we are also in favor of this bill. As you kind of alluded to, Senator, when we have older adults who have life happening, it is great to be able to take a break, take care of kids, take care of family, go back to work, and then revisit this scholarship and have it available so that folks can continue their education. As some of you may know, women are the majority of students at community colleges, and so this is especially interesting to us and something that we're really supportive of. That's it.
Questions for Ms. Richardson? You answered one of the questions I was going to ask, is how many of our students do you think of the non-traditional ones are single parents or single moms?
I don't know the single parent. That might be something that the community college has. I can look that up for you as well, though, and find it. Because
Interesting.
that's a great stat that I should have on hand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. If there's no other questions, we'll move forward. Hi,
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Little. I'm with the Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. And we come at this bill from, we are supportive of the bill, but we come at this bill from a workforce development standpoint. You know, there are a lot of non-traditional students that go to community colleges to get certificates, to get degrees that are going to put them into the workforce here in Wyoming, possibly in the skilled trades. So we are very supportive of this. We know a lot of, as Ms. Richardson mentioned, there are a lot of folks that have life happening and have families, other job obligations while they're trying to reach their career goals. And so this is one way to do that, is by having this scholarship be as flexible as possible. And with that, I would stand for questions.
Questions for Ms. Little?
Thank
Okay,
you.
I think you hit the nail on the head, particularly in your area. This is going to be really, really impactful, I think, because we have, like you said, life, and especially those non-traditional students that couldn't decide what they wanted to be when they got out of
Right.
high school possibly, and now all of a sudden they want to maybe get better jobs and be able to move forward. So
I agree,
I
Madam
think this will
Chairman.
be.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Morning, Madam Chairwoman and committee members. My name is Clark Fairbanks. I'm the Director of the Wyoming Youth Service Association. And I want to start by thanking you for considering this bill and stand in support of House Bill 25. I believe it removes barriers that can prevent students from maintaining eligibility during periods of instability, providing needed flexibility for youth with trauma histories and life disruptions, ensuring they can continue pursuing education and workforce opportunities when they're ready. This is especially true for children who grow up in the foster care system or in out-of-home placements who have little or no family support. And it just allows the flexibility, and I think it's in the spirit of this scholarship. I would also add, I was a single parent and didn't start college until my kids were 1 and 3, which is not the easiest way to go about pursuing an education. And just from a personal standpoint, there were times that my studies were interrupted due to the demands as a single parent. And I just wanted to add that personal testimony that as an example of why this would be so important for our Wyoming citizens. So thank you.
Questions for Mr. Fairbanks? Senator Scott?
Madam Chairman, and let me just, the downside of this is a risk that you'll get some students who get one of these and then something takes them an entirely different route and they never come back to finish up, or you go years without, and you're tying up money that, because we're not gonna have enough money for everybody that needs it. At least not in the immediate foreseeable future. So what do you think the risk is that you'll see some long-term people that are not able to finish and may not be planning to, but don't say, okay, I'm just not going to, and we get a bunch of money tied up in one of these things. That's, I think, the risk here, Madam Chairman. We could keep the law the way it is for a few years, because there is these opportunities for waivers. There is clearly a need for flexibility, Madam Chairman. But I don't know whether what you may see is long-term is another bill in 3 or 4 years that puts a limit on how long. I don't think we have the knowledge to do that at this point.
Mr. Fairbanks, you want to take a stab at that question?
Madam Chairwoman, my first thought is, from my own personal experience, it was a very thoughtful decision as a single parent to go back to school and the sacrifices it took to make that happen. Now, I don't know if that's the case in all situations, but I think when you're talking about someone who's 24 and older, I think it's often a very thoughtful decision in going back and the logistics of making that happen. So that's my first comment. And I think you're right, Senator Scott, that we don't know yet And that might be something that has to be revisited. But I also think that improving the education of Wyoming citizens for workforce are skills and knowledge that's never lost. It's a good investment. And certainly we want them to complete their education and obtain their degree. But not lose sight of also the advanced skills and knowledge that are gained in the process. Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Fairbanks? I think you should pat yourself on the back. That's pretty amazing. So congrats on that. Go ahead, sir. Please
Yeah,
introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Brad Tyndall, president of Central Wyoming College, and we serve, as you probably know, Fremont County, Teton County, and Hot Springs County. And so just providing a little bit of answer in terms of some of the questions that you've posed, that the average profile of our student, the most common profile of all our students, including our traditional aid folks who come from high school, is still the single mom. That's the most common profile. And so, and if you eliminate and just look at kind of the age group for this scholarship, it's clearly the average age is in the 30s. And in terms of important thing to note, it is, how risky is something, will someone complete? What we find is that just kind of 2 points to kind of understand the name of the game is that our retention from fall to fall is pretty good. But where it drops is fall to spring. You see, what happens spring? People come up for air. This is that whole phenomenon where they need this, they need to be able to come back. And in terms of kind of the long-term graduation rate, we even find that 8 years is sometimes kind of the time frame. So it is kind of an interesting kind of thing, but I think it's so important where the majority of our students are just average folks in their 30s, and they have families and mortgages and rent. And we're not competing against school or anything else. We're competing against life, because life takes them out. They have to come up for air. So thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to comment.
Mr. President, I didn't catch your last name.
Tyndall,
Tyndall. Okay.
Tyndall.
Any questions for Mr. Tyndall? Appreciate what you do up there, and our junior colleges, like I said, are just such a great thing for a lot of our kids that don't know what they want to do, what they want to be. And as we know, particularly in some of our males, their frontal lobe takes a little while for that to get, I think even for some of the women, it takes a little while for that to get developed. So I think this not having that, eliminating that continuous enrollment requirement, I think is going to be a game changer. So appreciate your testimony and everyone else up here. So thanks so much. Anyone else in the room that would like to testify on this? Okay. And again, no one online, right? No one's popped in? Perfect. Okay, with that, what is your pleasure, committee?
Move the bill.
Okay, bill's been moved. Any amendments or, yes, Senator?
Madam Chairman, if I could just make some comments on
Sure,
this
you bet.
bill. I definitely appreciate this bill. Back in my probably late 20s, before I had kids in my 30s, I had the privilege of teaching clinicals in the nursing program at LCCC. And I was mid to late 20s. I don't remember the exact years, but the majority of my students at that time were older than I was, and some of them significantly older than I was. And nursing is one of those careers that people go back later in life. We get a lot of, it's a second career for a lot of people, which I'm super thankful for. So in full support of this bill, because I went to nursing school straight out of high school, and that was hard enough just going, I had no responsibilities but myself at that time. And that was difficult enough some days. So it always marveled me how some of these, especially women, went through nursing school with kids at home and juggling all of that stuff. And I think that this is an important bill for especially women. You never know when, life happens, you might get pregnant. I've had 4 kids. You need a break when those kids are little, when you're pregnant and you're giving birth and stuff like that. So I full support of this bill. I think this is absolutely the right way to go for the furtherment of our education and really economic development and getting more people out into the workforce with higher degrees.
Other comments? Thank you for those comments. No, I would agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I think we see probably, I don't know what the percentage is, Mr. Tyndall might know, but the percentage of non-traditional versus traditional students, or maybe even Ms. Ballard would know, but I would venture to guess it's, I don't know, is it 50-50? Non-traditional versus traditional, or am I just throwing, is it closer to 1/3 to 2/3 maybe? Of 60-40, okay. So quite a large portion. So this, yeah, I think this change in this scholarship, I think will be a game changer for our state, for our junior colleges, for kids in Wyoming that want to come back and start, looking forward to their future. Senator Scott, did you have something?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I think we can all see the positives in this bill. The negative is, I think you're going to reduce the total number of these scholarships that can be offered, because there'll be money tied up that is going to be unpredictably needed to finish out these programs where the recipient has delayed. My prediction to you is that once we get some experience in probably 3 years, 5 years, there's going to be a bill to put a limit back on, maybe with exception language that's like what's present. Because I think that is going to be a significant problem with this bill, that you're going to reduce the total number of recipients. And that is a real negative, because there's going to be a lot more people that are going to want to use this than there's money available.
Well, just to follow up on that, good Senator, thank you for those remarks. The House Chairman and myself, we both wrote a letter to the Joint Appropriations, so we already got extra money added in. So we were proactive that way. So we're ahead of you, Senator Scott. But yeah, you're exactly right. We've got to take a look at it and see how it goes and make sure that we're funding it properly. So, all right. If there's no other discussions or anything else, no comments, we'll go ahead and take roll.
This is a roll call vote for House Bill 25. Senator Brennan,
Aye.
Senator Olson,
Aye.
Senator Rothfuss,
He left an aye vote.
Senator Scott,
Aye.
Chairwoman Schuler.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that is 5 ayes.
Okay, thank you so much. I guess we can do rock, paper, scissors to see who would love to take these bills up on the floor, but they're so simple. I'm sure that they're probably all going to be jumping on board, right? Well, with that, appreciate everybody's testimony today. I think these are 3 good bills, and I think our education committee did a pretty good job of bringing these forward, and I think they'll be helpful to our kids in Wyoming. So with that, thanks everyone for your testimony. Thanks for showing up, even though it apparently was a long night for a lot of us and not having caffeine. So with that, the meeting is adjourned.